What's up, Get Your Teach On? Welcome to the Flip Side, a Get Your Teach On podcast where we break down, share, and challenge flip perspectives and insights on different hot topics in education. And this is a good episode. It is part 2 of our 2-part Label-less the Musical episode. If you missed last week's episode, you're going to want to check it out. But we are once again live in New York. It's Saturday night, but you're listening on a Monday. This is part 2 of our Label-less the Musical podcast. Check it out. What's up, Get Your Teach On? Welcome back to the Flip Side. We are live in New York right now with the cast of the off-Broadway show, Label-less the Musical. Give it up for the cast, everybody. We also, for the second time ever, because last week was our first time ever, have a live audience here of our presenters, Magic Squad, New York area teachers here in-house, and we're filming live on the stage. Yeah. We just finished an incredible performance of Label-less.
Still not recovered.
Still not recovered.
May never recover.
Not a show for an empath.
In the best of ways.
I am so exhausted.
It should really come with like a pack of tissues when you walk in the door. Like a playbill and tissues. Like would be a good addition. So Drew and Leah, if you could just like work on that would be like a perfect addition. But we're so excited. Last week we had Drew and Leah on the show. If you didn't catch the episode, make sure you check it out. Incredible conversation all about the meaning of the show, what it means for teachers and that. But now we are so lucky to have almost everyone of the cast here. I mean, it's literally incredible. We were like, hopefully 2 or 3 will stay, and literally they all are here supporting teachers. So thank you guys so much. Give it up for them. They may not have had a choice. I don't know how that conversation went, but we'll pretend that they're here. But Hope, I want to turn this over to you. We have some questions for you all. Feel free to hop in, share anything out, just on the show, your experience and things like that.
Yeah, well, if you missed last week's episode, make sure you check that out because it's all about how Label-less was created. But we are so excited to talk to you guys because obviously for us as teachers, I think we could all agree that we literally probably saw every single one of the students that we teach in one of you. And that is so important to us to see as educators. So just want to turn it over to you guys. And listen, we're teachers here, so there's no specific way. Just jump in whenever you want to share. Also, obviously, since this is the first time we're meeting you guys, please let us know who you are and a little bit about yourself too. But I'm just curious and want to hear from the cast, really looking at Label-less and how it really tackles and breaks down identity and breaking free from labels. What message, because you guys have all been students at some point, you've sat in somebody's classrooms too. So what message would you hope that teachers, if every teacher in America, which I hope that they do at some point, sit in this audience and watch the show, what message or messages do you hope that they can take back into their classrooms that would make a difference for one or more of their kids?
I'll go. As somebody who's actually going to school for education, this...
Say your name.
My name is Nasir. I'm from Pittsburgh. And so to answer this question, I would say a message that you all and all the teachers watching can give students is that no matter who tells you no, always tell them yes. No matter who says no, you're always going to get a yes. No matter who tears you down, you're always going to get a yes or get a positive reaction from that. So just there's people out there rooting for you, even if somebody always telling you no.
I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah, the rest of you guys feel free to jump in whenever you want.
They're like, not after Nasir.
I know.
No.
They got to follow the teacher.
Right.
One thing I noticed, I'll give you guys some think tank, okay, as they're going through. They're like, we just did a 90-minute performance. Did you see the sweat and tears pouring down our face? Something that I thought was absolutely incredible, and I knew this coming into it, but even more so as we sat in the audience, is that the stories are your own. So they are not that you are conveying a story of a character that's being created or something like that. It's your own stories that you are sharing. So our students in our classroom have their stories as well. So as you're sharing your stories, think about what maybe do you want teachers to know, but also what do you want students to know about sharing their stories and their authentic self, no matter if they're kindergarten or in high school or college or even beyond, and even adults, what message would you kind of want to convey there as well? So think of it from both facets of that, because I love that kind of component.
I'll go. My name's Colton. I'm from Alabama. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I think for me, like you said, we've all been students. I remember being a student and how hard it was as a gay kid who loved to sing and dance. And in Alabama, that's not a thing that is encouraged as much as like playing football. And especially when you're like a bigger size guy, they expect you to be on the football field. So it took one teacher to kind of turn the tide for me when it felt like the world at my school was like against me. The bullying was like incessant. Food thrown at you. I mean, it's just like dark, dark stuff. One teacher that just sees you and tells you that like, this is not the world. This is a chasm. Like, this is a small little pinpoint in your story. You're going to get out of this. There's going to be tomorrow. It's going to look better for you. Knowing that from someone that was an educator, it's a game changer. And I don't think enough kids have that one teacher that is just going to be like, you're worth it. You are worth it to wake up tomorrow and come here and face it because you can. So that was powerful for me.
Can I piggyback off that? I love what you said about like it just takes one. One thing I would say for the teachers is trust your gut when it comes to seeing that kid, you know, who sits in the back of the class, doesn't really raise their hand a lot or anything like that. If you have that gut feeling, act upon it. Obviously, it's going to take time for that student to break down their walls, because I was that student with that one teacher. And I remember his name was Mr. Granger. He was in high school, my high school science teacher. Mm-hmm. And I was horrible at science, which is besides the point. But, I'm Micah, by the way. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Yeah. Yeah. And so I remember I had a lot of family stuff going on. I had some very, very dark thoughts of my own. And I kind of switched my seat all the time just to make sure I was in the back and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we would share looks all the time because like we would talk about sports and stuff like that. And there were weeks where I wouldn't do that. And I just wanted to be with myself and my thoughts, which was obviously not the right way to go around it. But finally, there was one day where he came up to me and he was like, hey, stay after class. Let's talk. And I think I talked to Mr. Granger and, missed my bus, all that kind of stuff for like 3 hours straight. And it was incredible. I mean, it was just the way that I was able to just like pour out of, we know our teachers, but like at the end of the day, it's like, I know you as my teacher. You're not like my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're friends, but it's like, we don't know each other like that. But still being able to like kind of to a stranger, just be like, this is what's bothering me. What do I do? And for him to actually listen to me was something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life and what I do for other people. I was like, if I have that gut feeling, I'm going to walk up to somebody and be like, hey, what's going on? Let's talk.
Yeah, I think that's such a powerful thing for teachers. And I think that I know the people in this room well enough to know, but just that message of be the one. Be the one. But that requires us as educators to really be willing to see beyond the standards, to see beyond the curriculum, and to take moments to notice those things that you're talking about. Because sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day and all the things that we have to do. And oh my gosh, I've got, now class sizes can be up to 30 and 40 kids. Oh my gosh, I've got or if you're teaching multiple, grade levels in high school, but taking the time to see students as humans and not just another person in your classroom, another face in your classroom, another number, another standard, another test score. There's so much more than that. And, we are big about when you reach the heart of the human, that's when you can touch the student. Yeah. And so I love that you both shared those stories because I think it's incredibly powerful for us as teachers to be reminded that we actually can make a difference. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to see that too.
Absolutely.
Anybody else want to share your classroom experience or a moment?
Stage left. What's happening over all the dancers ended up on stage left. Literally, they clung together. Not stage left. I don't know how that happened, but literally.
I'll go. I'm Izzy. I'm also from Cincinnati. For me, doing the show, like what Mike has said, it's having one person see you, but it's actually way more than one person when you're on the stage. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, there's some nights where I'm feeling it, I'm in my groove, and then stuff just comes out. Like, for me, like, dancing in this show, it's almost a cathartic experience because I can just release it out there. People can take it as they want, and they can either see it or they can be like, I hope they see it. I hope they see it. I hope they listen, and I hope they hear all the stories.
We saw it. And I'm glad you brought that up, Izzy, because literally, and all the dancing, the choreography just, Leah, it just
Thank
incredible.
You, Leah. Thank you, Leah.
Big one.
So absolutely incredible. But the storytelling through dance throughout the show was sometimes even more powerful than even the monologues or the songs for me, because I was just like captivated by the emotion behind it and the storytelling there. And everyone's story is different, right? Some people use their voice, some people use their dance. But Izzy, you specifically, as you were dancing, literally what you just said is what we saw on stage, because we were captivated by this story, and you didn't have to say one. I mean, you did say words in the show, but but you didn't have to say one word. And I think that's important to know, that how I show up as my authentic self is going to be very different than Izzy or very different than Micah. But also realizing that I saw others and my friends in each of you. So I saw myself, obviously, in different stories that were shared, but I also saw Wade, and I saw Hope, and I saw members of our Magic Squad that I was like, I know they're sitting 4 rows behind me, and I want to turn around, but I can't, because that would be awkward right now. But I think realizing that of others is super important as well. And Diana, you kind of closed out the show. Yeah. I was the president of your fan club, screaming, "Go Diana!" I just felt it in my
really
soul.
was.
Has an eyelash on his face.
Yeah, take it off. Please take it off. There we go.
Hey,
There
you're
we go.
here.
I just felt it. I was like, president of your fan club. In that last number, I was like, I'm standing up. I don't care if anyone knows it. I'm standing up. But how do you feel like we can show up for others, and teachers can show up for others? And it's easy to kind of identify ourselves as this is my story, this is their. How can we support others in their stories as we kind of go through this work every day?
You asked the right person.
Yeah. So my mom's a teacher.
Dr. Deb, Dr. Deb. Shout out Dr. Deb.
I think it's remembering that you are human too. It's so important that you show up even as honestly as you can every single day, because the students themselves can feel your energy. We take in what you take in every single day, even if you don't even know. Your struggles might be our struggles, and it stays with us because we love our teachers. Hey, I love my mommy so much. And her stories are so important to me. And so knowing that she can show up and recognize herself as a human outside of just a teacher, and remembering to put herself first, because it's a lot to take on at 30 students for 7 bells every single day. Hey, she comes home to me, we chat every single day. It's just important to remember that you are human and that you go through the same things that some of these students are going through. And it's important to take care of yourself, because it makes how you take care of your students so much more worth it and better, because they feel you, they understand you, and they see you for who you are. And it's so important.
Two-way street.
Hey, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Okay, so we want to get a little bit behind the scenes of Labelist. So obviously, we want the tea. You guys, no.
Colton, we're looking at you. No,
We feel like he's got some good stuff in there. No,
Silence.
we just sense it, you guys. We can sense it. It's teachers, it's our part of our. We can just sense the things. But curious to know from either side, what was the most surprising or unexpected either lesson or thing or experience that you've had that maybe you were not expecting when you joined the cast of Labelists?
I'll jump in.
The newbies, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a newbie. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess. I am from Sydney, Australia originally. Live in New York now. This is my first time as part of the Labelist cast, so joining in year 7. Have seen productions of it, have been a fan for a very long time. But I think coming in, I knew how special this was, and I knew how this impacted me as an audience member. I felt like I was diving into the deep end as a cast member. I didn't know what to expect, like for myself, and just being with the cast on stage. And it has been the most incredible experience, and I think that is mostly attributed to this group of people. And I think that we each individually lift each other up in very specific ways. And on days that we can sense that someone is maybe having a day, or as I have had this week, everyone has quite literally lifted me up and carried me through. And I think that we all have gotten to know each other so deeply in such a short amount of time. The chemistry is incredible. And I'm just so excited to see how that grows and blossoms in the next however many shows we have left.
Yeah, I think that aspect of community is something that you can take, or no matter what your role or what you're doing, is something specifically teachers feel every day, or maybe they don't feel every day, depending on their situation at their schools. And just counting on others where, you're going to show up as yourself every single day and give the best, but sometimes your best is 50%, or sometimes your best is 40%, and knowing that someone else is going through that, I think, is a huge component. On a less serious note, I have a question for you. How do Australian singers sing so beautifully without their accent?
The things we really want to know.
These are things I wonder about.
Like 10 years of training. Well, I moved here and studied here in the US, so I think that being around the accent a lot helps. If we want to get really technical, like musical theater really is an American art form, so a lot of the technique of singing is such a forward American placement that it kind of lends itself to sit there. But I sing in an Australian accent too. But I will say, it feels amazing to be able to step into the show in my natural accent.
I love it. I love it.
There is
She's
nothing
so
like it.
It is so
I can
Yes,
I can
yes.
drop the R's wherever I want. You know what I mean? Like it does. I don't have to. I have to stick in the accent.
It was
yeah.
perfect. I have literally waited like years to just cross that off my bucket list of asking someone from Australia how they are so incredibly talented with that.
Just don't let Wade ask you to say no, because he's about to. You guys, okay, so one of the biggest, I think, hopes for all of us as teachers is that students would open up to us. But it is incredibly difficult, as some of you have already shared, and sharing your own personal experiences. Like, that takes a level of vulnerability that a lot of people in this world don't have, whether it's that they don't feel like it's a safe space to share or whatever it may be. How do you guys do this so often on a stage in front of so many people? Is that hard for you? Is it
And
hard
holding
on
it
some
together,
days?
like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, oh my goodness.
What is it like to be in a musical that is literally your story? Like your story.
Yeah, take it, Jess.
Hi, I'm Justin.
Hi, Justin.
I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
If you're listening in your car, Justin was just voluntold by his castmates. He's answering this, so if you're not watching the live video, that's what just happened.
I think it's just reminding yourself that houses aren't homes. And what I mean by that is, like, when I walked into this, I'm brand new to this experience myself. So walking into this, I didn't know this cast. I didn't really know Leah or Drew that well. A friend of mine called me and was like, hey, I got this incredible thing I want you to be a part of. I was like, sign me up. That sounds cool. But I'm so meticulous, and I compartmentalize a lot of things. So I'm like to the dot, to the T, who I bring around myself, who gets to like see this vulnerability, you know? There was none of that in this. It was like, you're gonna do it. Go ahead. It was like, okay, yeah. And so this has really taught me that, like, I don't get to like build the house that I always want to build, you know? Like, I might get a structure given to me, and it's up to me to like help create the home for myself. And like, it's so amazing that I've had this group, because I mean, what Jess said is perfectly said. Like, every single person individually like has done something so significant that not just for this project, but like, I'm gonna carry this for the rest of my life. Like, I will probably contact these people in some way, shape, or form outside of this for like life things. You know? And it literally has taught me, like, bring people into your space, like allow things to like help change and like change your perspective, change your views, like change your like life story. And so I take that with me every time I step on this stage. I'm like, if they can do that for me, what could I do if I just let it out? And they see it fully raw, fully vulnerable, without me putting up a guard, you know? And to like kind of tie it back to like the teachers that I had one teacher specifically. I was kind of like teetering between like school, playing basketball, and like actually chasing my dreams, because I've always been like, I want to be on stage. I want to sing. I want to dance. Like, that's my passion. But like, it was like drilled in me as a child. You need to like get a job that's sustainable. You're really good at sports. You have these degrees that are coming out of nowhere. Do the degree thing. It's going to give, like, you know, get you where you need to go, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm balancing this thing. And my teacher was like, yeah, you could go that route, but are you going to be happy? Are you going to be fulfilled? Is that really what you want to do? And it was like, there was so much, and they were, funny enough, they were my basketball coach. So it's like hearing my basketball coach tell me like, you don't have to play basketball if you don't want to play basketball was kind of crazy to me. Cause
You're like the real life High School Musical Troy Bolin.
my head's in the game, but my heart's in the song. Yeah. So hearing my coach go, Justin, to be wholeheartedly honest with you, I don't think that'll make you happy. I know that I can see that you enjoy this, but I've also been to every play that you've done in high school. And that's an entirely different individual than the person that plays basketball on the field. You know what I mean? And when he said that to me, I was like, done deal. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to pursue this dream that I've always had. And here I am. So, but yeah, just being able to, if that teacher didn't bring their wall down in that moment and didn't try to, I guess, manufacture a home for me in that moment, it was like, no, build your own.
What a lesson we can learn from your coach, because he didn't see you for who he wanted you to be. He saw you for who you were. And that's why you have stepped into what you've stepped into and why you're being so successful and why you're quite literally changing lives every single day, because you had one person that didn't try to mold you and shape you, because a coach could have easily said, no, but you're so great at basketball. Let's hone these skills.
For their advantage.
Yeah, for their advantage. Yeah. Really seeing you for who you were. I think that's just beautiful. And I think that too, what you said, I want to talk to the teachers for a second. When you talked about, I loved how you shared about your cast, how we're always going to be family and we're always going to be there. That's because you've been able to be vulnerable, which formed connections. And I think as teachers, we get so busy in our day-to-day that we don't open up enough to one another. And I think one of the strongest pieces that we have in education, and it being in such a tough space right now, is one another. And so really developing that community, but that's going to take us opening up, breaking down walls, and being willing to share our stories and things that's, going on with us personally and professionally to be able to make those connections.
Yeah. All right. I could literally have this episode go on for like 10 parts as we go through. But any last advice that you have for teachers as they're going back to their classrooms? Some are driving there right now probably, and they're about to walk into a class. Maybe it's the best class they've ever had. Or maybe it's like we talked about earlier where they're given this opportunity. How can they make the best of what's given to them in that moment? What last advice, anyone can chime in, what do you have for teachers as they kind of finish the rest of the school year, encouraging others to use their authentic voice and show up as themselves?
I think that as we are talking about, like, we're being vulnerable. So I think something is like, be yourself, open up, be who you are, and not let anything turn you away. Yeah.
Be honest with your students. I mean, they will see you. The ones that want to see you will see you. And it's just like it's the two-way street. You see one of those students will see you. And it'll make everything better.
And sometimes, I mean, even as teachers, I would assume I'm not a teacher. Like, just as people, we all have bad days. And students have bad days too. And doesn't mean they're bad people or bad kids or not worth the effort. Like, you don't know what's going on at home. Like, it's just like grace. Just have grace.
Yeah.
It's really, really important right now in the world that we're living in.
And you have the power to change that for somebody, who's having a bad day, who walks into your class. Just like, okay, if you notice it, think about what you could do. And that could be absolutely anything.
Nobody's powerless. Their power is just undiscovered.
Play the Labeless album and then
Get the streams going.
I also love, and I think it's really important to note that we are not going to be that one teacher for every single student that we encounter. But as you heard from the cast up here, there was that one person that changed it. And just like I could not relate to everyone's story as they shared it, but there were specific stories that I could see myself, I could see friends, but there were others that I could just hear and listen and take it in and reflect on myself and how I show up for other people who can relate to that story. And I think that's important because not every student is going to relate to you. As much as you want to be the one that is going to use that superpower, like Diana said, you're going to maybe impact one student per class, two students per class. That's just the reality of humans and connection. But someone else down the hall, maybe when they get to high school and they're in science, or maybe their basketball coach, they're going to be that person that kind of changes everything. I think that's super powerful
Wade,
to
what you
remember.
got? What you got? I see you over there.
That's what I always say. So that was kind of what I was going to
Oh, great. There you go. I forgot you were here over there. I don't know. He was all the way over
I was
here.
waiting to close out with that, but just kind of piggybacking off of that. One thing that I think you guys need to recognize is you up here, you're teaching all of them.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're educating. You're teaching. We are listening to you. The joy that I got, or the most impactful thing I got from this was, the second thing was watching you on the side, up there, over there, looking at the person telling that story, because I knew coming into this that these were your real stories. And so I was watching your reactions and seeing you smile or like holding it back. Like, that's so impactful. And I think that's very important. Just double downing what we're saying here is we got to support each other. We got to love each other. I mean, especially with, as educators, like, we can only do so much by ourselves, but it's with everybody else. And that's something that we talk about all the time. And that's what you're doing. These are real teachers going back to 20 to 30 to hundreds of kids that just heard what you said. And that's going to happen for the next 7 to 8 days, at least here. So I just kind of want to lift you guys up with that, encourage you to keep going. It's something we talk about often, and Chris did mention this. I mean, not every student is going to be able to identify with you, but they can identify with a teacher down the hall. We're not classroom teachers. We're not science teachers. We're school teachers. We don't teach content. We teach kids. And that's what you're encouraging to do. I mean,
I was waiting on that one. He was waiting.
it's called a Wade break.
Yeah.
Okay. I got more back here. But I want to encourage you guys to not stop. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here listening and trying not to cry during this whole thing. So thank you. No, I'm good.
And I just want to finally end with encouraging the teachers here and those that are listening, a reminder that we need to constantly have in the forefront of our brain and to be telling one another is the students in your room don't need the teacher next door or the teacher down the hall or the teacher that you wish you were more or what. They need you. Mm-hmm. You were built for this specific moment with these specific kids for a reason. And I think a lot of times we need to remember we were made for this. We were created to do this. And so I love that somebody said, I can't remember who, but trust your gut. Maybe it was you, Micah. Yeah. Trust your gut. You are capable. You are capable of being the one for that child, for so many more. But we have to rely on your authenticity. And so don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself, because that's exactly who your kids need you to be. So.
I love it. And this is just the beginning of the partnership with Labelless and Get Your Teach On. I won't say anything more there, but if you're coming to Dallas, you may see some more Labelless. I don't know. I'm just giving a little plug there. But thank you guys seriously so much. We know how exhausting it is on any show, on Broadway, off Broadway, just the show itself. Nevertheless, sharing your own vulnerability and showing up like that, that's like 10 times more exhausting. And it's like therapy every single night. And I love that. That we got to see kind of into your souls and into your stories.
We're better people because of you guys.
Yeah,
truly.
seriously.
Also, thank you.
So thank you so much. Give it up for the cast of Labelless. Whoa!
Yeah!
Make sure you tune in to an all-new episode of The Flip Side every Monday. And until then, we need your guys' help with this one. Yeah. We end every episode. We say catch you on, and you guys shout The Flip Side.
It's like one of those caller responses we were talking about. Y'all can do it too. Y'all can do it too. Okay.
So until next time, we'll catch you on The Flip Side!